Hey guys, what's up? And today we're going to be trying out Swim's Kalista Burn. Alright guys, so I was watching the Swim stream today, right? If you guys don't know already, well at least the two of you who watch my channel, if you guys don't know already, I love Swim, and he's the one who inspired me to make a YouTube channel in the first place. So, he built this Kalista, it's not really Kalista, it's more like Neverglade Prankster Burn, where you're just trying to have your allies die a ton of times. And in some cases you'll level up Kalista, in some cases you won't. It's really just about burning out your opponent. So the idea is you're playing cards like Bark Beast, Crawling Sensation, cards that, Curse Keeper, Blight Caretaker, cards that benefit from your dudes dying, because you're playing into death as much as you can for Neverglade Collector and Phantom Prankster. Of course, you have a card like Used Cask Salesman, which is super good for this. And Blight Caretaker, which basically does the same thing, right? And you're getting a ton of damage. And even attacks with Blight Caretaker, where you're pulling two things to the saplings, your attacks can actually hit through sometimes. And then, you're just finishing out your opponent from, it's 14, 16 to 0. So it's a really strong deck. And so we're just going to jump right into a game. I played this deck 7, 8, maybe even 9 times today. I can't even remember. I played for 2 hours, so it's probably more than that even. I don't know, I didn't keep track. But it went undefeated. Alright, so we're gonna ditch everything except for Neverglade Collector. Hapless just makes sense. Free 1 damage. So, this deck really just aims to burn out your opponent with these cards. You could do a lot of damage in the early game. And this is probably, besides Shadow Isles being one of my favorite regions, this is just an awesome deck. So usually you'd play the Prankster there, but I don't actually have a lot of reasons to do it, and he could have removal for it. I think this is right. I don't think he can let the Kalista live. Whoa, hold up. Is he gonna just take 5 here? Oh, he's got Gang Sight. Okay. Whoa! Did not see that coming. Wow. I can't have my first lost on YouTube. That would just be embarrassing. But, the deck really rides on the back of these cards. And, yeah, 5 damage. Okay, buddy. You got it. Okay, 6 damage. Okay, so the Crawling Sensation here is going to be super powerful. Especially with a Neverglade next turn and Neverglade after that. Each spy is going to deal 3 to the opponent. And we're going to gain 2 life, right? So his aggression really is just going to be cancelled out. Which is why I kept Neverglade in the starting hand.
Lovely day for a battle.
Okay, so the main thought process on this deck is kill your opponent as fast as possible. That was a weird play. Discarding that. It's okay. Alright, so we basically just won, right? There's not a lot. Oh, wow. There's not a lot he can do here. So, I do want to talk about some of the changes Swim made as he played this deck. Okay, that's pretty good. So, he originally had it as an Allegiance deck for Wraithcaller. The idea was you're just going to play into Kalista. You're going to play into these, right? But you're going to use that in case you get some. So we're still dead here.
Suppose you would.
Alright, I'm just thinking here. think that just makes the difference. Yeah. Keeping both Neverglade collectors alive is actually really valuable here. Obviously, he still keeps most of his board, but we're not too worried about that. Especially with a draw like that. Wait, so hold that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, we're not actually going to be able to play Phantom Prankster this turn, but that's not much of a downside. Okay, so the idea is here, we're going to try to clear his board and gain some life so that we can keep going. This is one of the decks that I actually think we have to play slower than. I mean, sometimes you can get a huge hand, but like right here, we gotta play for the Neverglade, gaining us life, and try to outlast him, because then we just win, right? So obviously we're gonna kill his big dudes. These basically both hit, and then that's it. And obviously, oh, he just gave up. Hold up. He didn't have anything. Not have anything. That was crazy. That's one of the decks that can actually compete with this deck for speed. And we just beat it. Still undefeated. Still undefeated. Wow. Nuts. So, the original deck, I actually have it right here, was an Allegiance deck that played into Wraithcaller, making 2 dudes and playing really for aggressive, more combat-centered deck with cards like Ravenous Butcher, Mark of the Isles, definitely Bly Caretaker, and it just played into the aggression more, where you're actually attacking your opponent and then just finishing it off with Phantom Prankster and Neverglade Collector. The newer version of the deck, which is the one I would recommend, actually plays out of that a little bit, because most of the decks in the meta right now are either control or mid-range. Mid-range just has bigger dudes than us, and at a certain point, we just have to stop trying to attack, and it's better if we stop doing that earlier, because a lot of mid-range decks can actually just stop us from getting good attacks in earlier in the game. And a deck like a Nivea Braum, although that's kind of fallen off, still plays... decks like that are going to be control decks are going to play into the Ruination, which hurts our deck a lot, because if we have Neverglade and Phantom Prankster on field, they're not getting the death triggers anymore. But this version of the deck can actually just completely destroy that. And here is why. We've got rid of Ravenous Butcher, a Hapless Aristocrat we've traded for a Calling Sensation, and we've gotten rid of a Vile Feast even, and of course we got rid of the Allegiance cards, and we've traded them for one Get Excited, which just is amazing for finishing off your opponent, Zaunite Urchin, and Jury Rig. So Jury Rig is just a great card for a lot of reasons. We can play it at burst of speed to get 1 extra damage on the attack, like you saw our opponent do in that game. We can play it on defense and get an extra death trigger with Neverglade Collector. And with Zaunite Urchin, it's a free 1/1, and we can just fill up the board. Zaunite Urchin's in the deck because it helps us get to Phantom Prankster and Neverglade Collector. So, I said something earlier. I said that the Ruination does nothing against this deck. The reason I said that is because the way we win, despite the Ruination, is having relied on the fact that our opponent's already taken a ton of damage. In that last game, we took our opponent from, 20 down to 12, and then we just killed them the rest of the way after that. With a Blighted Caretaker, we went from losing to winning just because of Blighted Caretaker. We were gaining so much life off the Blighted Caretaker and the saplings that our opponent couldn't do anything about it, and we got an actually good attack, killing their 2 biggest dudes, and giving us enough blockers and enough momentum to win the game. So that might have looked like a losing position, right? But we had 2 Neverglade Collectors. That is a crap ton of life. We had enough chump blockers to actually live through the next turn if they hadn't killed us. That's why this deck is so good. It rides off the back of us doing damage around the combat. And the last version of the deck played 3 Kallistas. It played Ravenous Butcher, which all feed into the combat. But now we're playing a more comboistic version where we're trying to win without the combat. And that's where this deck shines. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Man, I'm gonna use this deck to climb up. My goal is to get to, is it platinum next? Jeez, I believe it goes bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, masters. Tell me if I'm wrong, obviously, but I'm gonna try to get to platinum, which would be after gold. This deck single-handedly has gotten me to gold, and I hope it continues to get me, through ranked, because this deck is just so powerful, and it's so good at winning fast and around the combat that it just is super, super good against the current meta. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.